Welcome to Friends in Fiction, 5 best-selling authors, endless stories. Friends in Fiction is a Facebook Live program with 5 best-selling novelists whose common love of reading, writing, and independent bookstores bound them together with chats, author interviews, and fascinating insider talk about publishing and writing. These friends discuss the books they've written, the books they're reading now, and the art of storytelling. If you love books and you're curious about the writing world, you're in the right place. Best-selling novelists Mary Kay Andrews, Kristen Harmel, Christy Woodson Harvey, Patti Callahan Henry, and Mary Alice Monroe are 5 longtime friends with more than 80 published books to their credit. At the start of the pandemic, they got together for a virtual happy hour to talk about their books, their favorite bookstores, writing, reading, and publishing in this new uncharted territory. They're still talking, and they've added fascinating discussions with other best-selling novelists. So join them live on their Friends and Fiction Facebook group page every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, or listen and view later at your leisure on their podcast or on their website at www.friendsandfiction.com. Hi.
Hi, everybody.
You sound normal.
Welcome to Friends in Fiction, Take 2. This is our weekly Facebook Live show featuring author chats in support of independent bookstores. We are so thrilled, honored, and humbled to be here with almost 22,000 of you, almost 6 months after, or just after 6 months after our first show. I'm Christy Woodson Harvey. My latest book is Feels Like Falling, and I will be your host tonight.
I'm Patti Callahan Henry, and my latest novel is Becoming Mrs. Lewis.
And hi, I'm Mary Alice Monroe, and my latest novel is On Ocean Boulevard.
I'm Mary Kay Andrews, and my latest is Hello Summer.
I'm Kristen Harmel, and my latest is The Book of Lost Names.
And this is Friends in Fiction. Welcome. We are so grateful for all of our amazing guests, but I have to say that I really have a soft spot for these Just Us weeks when we really get to delve into more personal questions, a little bit more about, each of us, and feel like we really get to know you guys out there in our Friends in Fiction universe. And of course, as always, we're teaming up with a favorite bookstore this week. This week is one of my personal favorites, South Main Book Company in Salisbury, North Carolina, which is where I'm originally from. And it has been a fixture in downtown Salisbury for my whole life and much longer than that, and under several different name iterations, but has been a real fixture of our downtown for decades. Alyssa Redmond and her daughter Margaret moved to Salisbury right before the pandemic to purchase the bookstore, and through all the turmoil, she has done the most amazing job of creating and continuing a sense of community there. I was there a couple of weeks ago signing stock with Alyssa and my mom, and we all decided that a visit at South Main feels like you're visiting with family. So tonight she's offering a discount on many of our titles online and 10% off in store when you mention Friends in Fiction. So we'll drop the link in the Facebook page, but thank you to Alyssa for all she does for our community, and thanks to all of you at Friends in Fiction who support these incredible stores that are truly the heartbeat of our town. The stores like South Main Book Company are such integral, vital parts of the fabric of this country and imprint something so lasting onto each of us, which brings me to our topic for this week. I did an interview recently with Elysian Magazine, and the publisher, who is incidentally one of the best interviewers I have ever encountered, asked me what I wanted my legacy to be. No one had ever asked me that before, and it sort of stopped me in my tracks. I'm kind of ashamed to say that it isn't something that I've really thought that much about, which is especially odd because my next book, Under the Southern Sky, is all about legacy. So I know we normally begin with an easy chat, but since we're welcoming our special guest, Cassandra Conroy, in just a few minutes, Cassandra King Conroy, in just a few minutes, I thought we should dive right in. So ladies, I'm going to turn it over to you. What does legacy mean to you, and what lasting impression do you want to leave on the world? I feel like that's a big question. Patti, do you want to start?
Sure. When I saw you were going to ask that, I was like, oh, have I ever thought about that? What does that even mean? What is a legacy? There's not going to be a Patti Callahan literary center, right? Like, What does it mean?
Maybe.
We don't know.
Maybe.
We don't know that.
So I once wrote an essay because I was asked why I write. And I don't think it's that I've ever thought about my legacy. I actually think more about what I want my next story to be about than I do what I want the full body of work to say. But I can say this. I know I want my legacy to be that I want to write stories that lead others to a more open life, a more open heart, or a more honest life. When I think about that, I think about stories I want to tell because they're worth telling for those reasons. I don't usually think about the whole legacy, but what the reason I want to tell that story. I think we see ourselves in a story and we look for ourselves in a story. And I want people to find their braver, better self in my stories and move towards that.
That's nice.
That's
awesome.
a beautiful answer. Mary Alice, what about you?
I think it's a little different for me because 20 years ago, I know what I want the legacy to be. And I feel like after 20 years, I've done it. And that was when I did an effort to make a difference with the environment. And it's been a serious 20 years, 20 some books. And I don't know if they'll be read in another 20 years from now, but at least I feel that in my lifetime, I really made an effort and a decision to say, I think books can make a difference in life. We can all make a real difference. Each one of our books makes a difference in personal lives. And for me, it would be for the environment. So for me, that's it. It's something I'm aware of, but I feel like I'm ready to, I've done it. It's like I'm sort of ready now to play a little bit with the next few books. So,
I think you deserve that. You've earned that. Kristen, what about you?
Such a hard question. And I've been thinking about it since you mentioned that we were going to talk about this. And I'm still not sure I have a great answer. Because I don't think about that when I sit down to write. I don't know that any of us necessarily do each time, as we're writing, but I don't know. I guess when I look at the work I've done recently, it's been about the Holocaust and it's been about World War II. So I hope, that maybe what people take away from what I'm doing now is just that memory of we can't forget, we can't forget, and we have to learn from our past. And I'm certainly not alone in reminding people of that. And I love that there are reminders all around us of that there are many people writing about World War II. There are Holocaust survivors still speaking out. I mean, those stories are still out there, but, I think that's a piece of it, just that reminder, but also, I've been saying this lately a lot in chats, some of the virtual chats I'm doing. I think the thread that runs through a lot of my stories is that we all have it within us to be extraordinary. As ordinary as we may feel we are, we all have the capacity to be extraordinary. I feel like I've said that a thousand times in virtual chats, but maybe that's something I'd like people to take away from my books and remember, that you don't need anything special to make a difference in the world. You just need to be you.
I think also it's so important, Kristen, what you just said about the Holocaust is to remind people, yes, it happened.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, as the years go by, I feel like it's slipping further from our memory. So yeah, it is important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mary Kay, what about you?
I would love for my legacy to be that I told stories that were full of heart and full of humor. And then I think about the bookshelf behind me has a lot of my novels, almost 30 now. And I don't think of them as, I last night I was thinking, oh my God, I have almost 30 books in the Library of Congress.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah,
so cool.
I don't think about them as ISBN numbers.
Yeah.
The number that's, on the spine that people order. I think about the characters. I would like my legacy to be the characters that my books brought to life. And so when I do library events, people tell me, oh my gosh, I wish you would do another Callahan Garrity mystery. I did 8 of those. Or people would say, I want another Wheezy or Bebe. Or people talk to me about the Doyen Josephine and the High Tide Club. So I would love it if my legacy were that I gave people stories that made them laugh, made them connect with each other, maybe made them think about, you know what? And people tell me this, I always get your book when I go to the beach every summer, and I look forward, and I know,
awesome.
yeah, I know summer's going to start when I see one of your books. And so that's all the legacy I need. I mean, I have children and grandchildren. They're my real flesh and blood legacy. But I would love it if people would say, yeah, I love those stories. I love those characters.
Yeah. And I think that's such a good point. But sorry, Kristen.
No. Go ahead.
Yeah. I was just going to say, I think I've taken for granted, I think something that the pandemic has showed me really is that I've taken people's happiness for granted. Like just this simple act of giving someone a few hours of joy. Like that was just something that I didn't really consider that important. And I think now, you know, after seeing what people have been through and seeing what books have meant to people, especially now, just the mere simple fact of making someone smile for a few hours is maybe that's enough.
Yeah. And I love that idea of being part of people's memories. I mean, if every year you go on your beach vacation and before you go, you pick up the latest Mary Kay Andrews, like that's a part of everybody, like that's a part of summer they'll remember for the rest of their lives. I think that's
Summer
amazing.
begins with MKA. I don't
That's
know if
right.
you've heard, but well, that is amazing. And speaking of legacy, as we've mentioned, we have a special pop-in guest tonight, Cassandra King Conroy, who is going to tell us a little bit about her new memoir, Tell Me a Story, My Life with Pat Conroy.
Hi, Cassandra.
Hello.
So glad you made it.
I can't figure out how to get myself out of the dark. I think that's metaphorical.
Girlfriend.
The story of my life right there.
Can you get closer to the screen so we can see your pretty face?
Oh God, no, don't have to. Oh, you young women,
Well, in addition to her new book, we're hoping that Cassandra will tell us a little bit about how she is carrying Pat Conroy's legacy forward with the Pat Conroy Literary Center. So Cassandra, welcome. We're so excited to have you. And I know I speak for all of us when I say just how moving and charming and funny in all the right places this book really is.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. I didn't have any sort of agenda, as such when I wrote the memoir. As a matter of fact, I didn't even intend to write a memoir at the time. I was actually working on some recipes, some stories when Pat and I cooked together for a cookbook that I was doing. And in telling those stories, I realized that that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to tell our story of our time together. And so that's pretty much how the memoir came about. But one, I think some things, even if we don't intend them, if we don't set out and say, oh, I'm going to do so with this book, or I'm going to make everyone, feel such and such a way or anything like that. I was hearing some of your conversation earlier, and I don't know this, but I don't think any of us really set out with those kinds of things in mind. I certainly don't. But in some ways, I guess I was sort of keeping Pat's legacy alive through this book. And I think we do this. We keep all legacies alive by telling stories.
Yes.
And, I never would have considered, it's one time I would have had a fight, I guess, with my wonderful editor, who I've not had a single crossword with, but if she had wanted to change the title of my story, I would have fought for it, because that's what I wanted it to be. Tell me a story. Because storytelling and especially these days, is so very important. It is the way that we carry on legacies. There's nothing my kids loved better than to get their grandparents to tell them, about growing up when they came along and things like this. And now my grandkids, do this as well. So I think that's, telling our stories and telling other people's stories. So Kristen, you were talking about, I don't, we have our own personal stories, but I think the more that we hear some of these stories, wherever the voice comes from, maybe, we can't say, well, this was a personal experience for me, but I experienced it through reading about it, like the Holocaust or some of these things that happened. And and I want to share, what it said to me, how it spoke to me. And this then is handed down and handed down.
And you did it so beautifully. I mean, you were so honest and it was moving and funny, but I always say to people, I felt like I was just sitting on the couch with you, Sandra, and I heard stories I didn't hear before. It was really personal.
I was hoping for, that was what I was, kind of hoping for. It's more conversational. For one thing, Pat has been written about so many times and in so many different ways. There is an official sort of biography coming out in a few years about him. There've been other books written about him and studies and this sort of thing. But no one really had the story that I had to tell. And so I wanted it to be personal and just as though we were just sitting down and someone said, well, how did you meet Pat? And, what happened when you were seeing each other? And, how did you end up getting together after becoming friends for 2 years, before we ever even thought of each other as anything other than friends and so forth. So I just, I want to have that approach.
It's wonderful. I think you really did all of that and more. It's and Mary Kay, I think you had a question for Cassandra.
I have a question.
Yes.
All right. Sandra, we're talking about legacy tonight, and you've done an incredible job creating such a lasting one for Pat Conroy. Can you tell us briefly about the work that you're doing with the Pat Conroy Literacy Center? Because I bet there are folks who don't know about it who would love to know about it.
Okay, I'm going to scoot backwards and see if I can get more in the light here. I'm just feeling so deprived here.
Don't worry, you're okay.
You're good. Oh, now you're low. There you better.
That's better, isn't it? Yeah.
That's good.
I won't reach for it now. I'm out of the lamp. It's the problem.
Doesn't matter.
After Pat died, there was a lot of conversation about how to what was a fitting memorial for him, and the city of Beaufort discussed putting up a statue of him in the waterfront park, which is a beautiful place downtown. Those of you that have been to Beaufort know. And every time I go to the waterfront park, I just think, oh, this would be so great. Except for one thing, I had to tell them no, they couldn't do that. But I didn't tell them the reason. Because one time Pat and I were traveling, and we were in some small town in New England, and I honestly do not remember who the writer was, but we were wandering around, and in their town square they had a small statue of a well-known writer, and I'll just say it's Nathaniel Hawthorne, whoever. And Pat said, "Don't ever let them do that for me."
Wow.
And
wow.
I said, "Oh, okay."
Wow.
And he said it would just give the critics the pigeons a chance to do what the critics have been doing all these years. That's what he said.
That sounds like Pat. That sounds like
Just
Pat.
like that. It was just like that.
Oh,
But I really thought that he was such a man of action. He could never hear of a an unjust cause or anything like that without he was a warrior at heart, without wanting to go after it. He would write letters to the editor. He'd hear about a book being banned, or school board banned a book, and here he would go. He would go charging after them, and he started that. I mean, his very first book he wrote.
Right.
He went after the school board. It cost him his job, and he never taught again. Then he went after his school. He went after the brutality of family violence, and all these different issues, mental illness in the family that's swept under the rug and not talked about, and embarrassing for some families and so forth. Not for Pat. If he could do something, and he did that through his writing and through telling stories. So when it was suggested that maybe we should have a literary center as a way of carrying on this, as an action-based sort of way of carrying on Pat's legacy. Some of us got together then to organize. We became a nonprofit, and it's 4 years ago now. It will be it's not quite 4 years, but almost since we started the literary center in downtown Beaufort. And we've had this amazing outreach. Our director travels all around, presenting programs about Pat's legacy, and books, and so forth. But Pat would never want it to be just about him. He was known for helping other writers.
Mm-hmm.
He was a mentor for so many other writers. He may have been for some of you. I know he was.
Yeah.
Yes, I know. And just so many others. So, I mean, we have these writing workshops and retreats, and we have a Camp Conroy for kids. We look at all sorts of issues, that are important to folks today, social justice and racial, issues in the community, and healing, just so many things like that we are, and we're a new organization. We're beginning to do all these things that we set our hearts and minds on doing to carry on his legacy.
It really is. That is just incredible. And Patti, I think you have a question for Cassandra. Actually, though, will you tell us where you are, Patti, really quickly before you ask Cassandra your question?
I was going to say, what is so fascinating? So, you know how much we love indies, and I got in a jam on time tonight. So the amazing Jessica Osborne, who owns and runs eShaver Booksellers, is doing I am broadcasting from eShavers tonight. And Cassandra, this is the last store Pat ever signed at.
Yes, it is.
I feel like I'm going to cry. Like, how serendipity is that?
yeah.
No, that's
I didn't
amazing.
think about it until Jessica just leaned over to me and said, "This is the last store he ever signed at."
Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
That's incredible.
I know. So, Cassandra, I have a big question for you.
Okay.
Are you ready for a huge surprise?
Yes.
Okay. Wait, I think
Are you?
there's someone at the door. Who is it? It's Marley Rudolph.
Oh no.
Okay. Okay, let me introduce
We've been sneaking around on you, Cassandra.
You have.
Okay, everyone, I want you to meet Marley Rusoff, who is not only Cassandra's literary agent and was Pat Conroy's literary agent, but is also my literary agent. And she is the co-founder of the Pat Conroy Literary Center. Because you see, Cassandra, behind your back, We, including the Fab Five here, and Mary Alice jumped on board, and we have been plotting and raising money for the center. And I know that there was a day when you and Pat fell in love, and Pat promised you, I'm not going to cry, a room of your own.
I'm already getting there. So,
and then he gave you a room of your own at your house on the Tidal River in Beaufort. And now we, the Fab Five, and a few others want to do the same for you. So Marley, take it away.
Well, Cassandra, and all of you at home or wherever you are listening to this, Cassandra, you know that Pat believed that every voice mattered and that it's actually become pretty much of our mission statement. He also believed, as I know you do, that reading and writing and shared stories actually can help heal a broken world. He shined his light on so many dark corners. And in many cases, his readers would tell us that he saved their lives.
no question.
That's really true. So, but we're so proud to be able to announce that a new education office at the Pat Conroy Literary Center will carry your name. It will be the Cassandra King Conroy Education Office of the Pat Conroy Center. And this
Oh my goodness.
room will help us create more innovative programs around storytelling and to impact the lives of future generations of children and the elderly. It's going to be something that we can all look back on with great pride. So I want to also announce that today is the beginning of our capital campaign. We have to raise a lot of money to buy this building in January. If you want to see a picture of the building, you go on our website, the www.patconroyliterarycenter.com, where you're encouraged to donate. But this is the beginning. Today is the day that we will begin the campaign. And it's the day that we're going to honor you, Cassandra, for everything that you've done for so many others and that you continue to do every day. Pat also said that words are pretty.
Saying
Yeah, he said that. But we should pay attention to those who perform. And so I want to thank especially the 5 women of Friends in Fiction for being the first to step up to the plate when we said we needed help. I also want to thank Patti, Callahan Henry, and Mary Alice for helping me extend the reach to other women novelists. So this room will have a plaque with the names of friends and novelists, other women who also have cherished a room of their own, as you were given by Pat, and we are now giving to you. I'm going to read the list of the women who've contributed.
I've got to get my Kleenex. I'm sorry.
We'll take a Kleenex break. Take a Kleenex break. Okay, are you ready, Cassandra? Okay. Among the group of writers whose names will appear on a plaque on the Cassandra King Conroy room. Mary Kay Andrews. This is alphabetical, guys. So, okay. Mary Kay Andrews, Sandra Brown, Barbara and Gervais Haggerty, Christian Harmel, Patti Callahan Henry, Christy Woodson Harvey, Bren McLean, Laura Lane McNeil, Mary Alice Monroe, Delia Owens, Janice Owens, Kathy Reichs, Valerie Sayers, and bringing up the end is Susan Zarenda. Any of you out there should know that going to the homepage of Friends in Fiction will give you a link to our website tonight. But the work that we can do couldn't be more important, especially now when the world feels as though we may never be able to knit it back together. But all of you are storytellers, and I put my faith in the storytellers of creating a future that is inclusive and makes the world a safer and a better place in our future. And Cassandra, what a special thing to be able to offer this honor to you.
There is nothing that could please me more.
I'm just going to add, each of the women that was, they're a very select group, and they all, each of them were so thrilled and delighted to participate in this special room for you, Cassandra.
Oh.
And like Marley said, their names will be on a plaque in the Cassandra King room. And I like to think of it as the women's room. However, there is one special donor.
Wait,
Yes.
your doorbell.
Oh,
Doorbell. One special donor.
Hi, Jim.
Your son, Jim.
no.
Yes, he's not a guy, but
You're
he's
not
there.
telling me.
Well, surprise, surprise.
And you have a beard.
Yeah,
Look how good looking he is.
that's the
He's
surprise.
very good
so
looking.
cute.
Yes.
Wait a minute. I thought I was in the wrong room. I thought this was a supermodel convention.
Oh, I taught him well.
Palmer, just a
Oh
child.
my goodness, Jim.
No, not just me. So, on behalf of me and Jason and Jake, as well as Liz and the girls, we are happy to help make this come true. Thanks also to Marley and all you ladies for putting this together. Also, one of your biggest fans now is Ken, and so he was thrilled to contribute as well.
Oh,
So, my
so
brother-in-law Ken Wall here in Houston. So, we'll have it's mostly ladies, but somewhere in fine print under a footnote will also be a few of the boys that you raised. So. I'm thrilled. This is such a great idea, and most of you may not know that Mom and I got our master's degree at the same time because we're essentially the same age.
That's awesome, Jim.
And the reason for such a delay in that was because Mom had nowhere to write, and as growing up, we would never give her 5 minutes alone to do anything, much less concentrate on writing. So as soon as she got rid of all of us and was able to focus, and then finally got some space here and there, she was able to write Making Waves in Zion, and that was her master's degree, and I got mine at the same time. So our professional tracks have taken off in parallel, and now you've got a room of your own at home and now at the Literary Center. So it's really great. I wanted to thank you all so much for doing this for her, and we love you, Mom.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you, Marley.
that was so moving.
I
Cassandra.
have never been so shocked. I mean, seriously.
I'm just shocked
Hard
that
to keep a secret.
no one spilled the beans. I'm shocked that
No,
the secret.
Marley has
that's
been
why
so
Jim
nervous.
hasn't talked to me lately.
I
I'm
know.
afraid he would let
Leave me alone. That's
Yeah.
right.
That's
Well,
funny.
this was truly wonderful. Jim and your brothers, thank you so much for participating, and for everyone. Marley, thank you for coming.
Marley, thanks for coming on.
It's,
Thank you all.
Bye,
This-
guys.
this was not, we all had to dry our
I
eyes.
know.
I know. I've been doing that.
Talking about
Looking
legacy.
forward to this
Lord.
Yeah.
so much.
My goodness.
Wow. I mean, that really is. I think about, talking about legacy, just having that many people who love you and want to do this for you. I think that's a legacy right there, just to have that many people that want to give you a special day. So we're so appreciative to be a part of it, and we're so glad that you came on to tell us a little bit about the center. And for anyone who's wondering, there is more information on our Facebook page, and we will keep everybody updated as the progress continues.
Well, you totally surprised me, and thank y'all. I'll never thank you enough. I'm just so
So we love you.
We love you, Cassandra.
I love y'all.
We love you.
Bye, darling.
Hope to see
We're
you
going to kick you out, but we love you.
I can't talk anymore anyway.
I'm really.
No, of course, I've got to figure out how to leave. I see.
Y'all have to come,
Sure.
back,
I'm just kidding.
when your new book comes out. When you're
Yes.
Yeah, when your new book comes out.
Yes.
And I'm supposed to say that the paperback of my book is coming out November the 10th.
Oh, great.
Fantastic.
good for you.
So,
And I will leave on that note.
so while you're figuring out that, I'm going to tell everyone, it hit me when Jim was on that he is a doctor, her son, Jim, and he is a specialist in Alzheimer's, and he was involved in Alzheimer's research, and he is the one I interviewed when I wrote The Favorite Daughter.
Oh my God.
Oh, I
He's
didn't
the one
know.
who gave me all the information about research and the drugs that were coming up and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's cool. I didn't know that.
A lot of serendipity tonight. A lot of serendipity.
Yeah.
Yeah, no
really cool.
kidding.
Wasn't that beautiful? Oof.
It was wonderful. It was really special to be a part of. And I don't really know how to follow that up, but we're just gonna keep going.
Keep rolling, baby.
But
Keep
that
rolling.
was incredible, and it was really special to get to be a part of it. And we're gonna take a couple of really quick reader questions. We're running a tiny bit long tonight, especially with our tech difficulties. But I just wanted to remind everyone that South Main Book Company in Salisbury, North Carolina, is offering 10% off of all of our books online and in store when you mention Friends and Fiction. And there's a link under our announcements on Facebook. Kristen, would you like to ask us a question from a reader?
Yes. So my first question is, why is this the first night on Friends and Fiction I decided to put on eyeliner? Like, what is wrong with me? I literally never worn it except tonight.
You knew what was coming, Kristen.
I forgot to try everything. Okay, sorry. So the reader question is from Barbara Plishka Wojcik. What would be the one piece of advice, wisdom you would want to leave for your children? Something for them to always remember, either about you or about themselves. I think that's a great question. And Barbara, I'm sorry if I pronounced your name incorrectly. Anybody?
Wow. I love that, like, I'm hosting and know what the questions are going to be, and like haven't really thought of my answer. Kristen, do you want to take it first?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so the one piece of advice or wisdom I would want to leave for my child. You know, I have the sense that she's talking about just kind of in our personal lives, not attached to our books. And for me, I would say that one of the things I say often to Noah is it's nice to be successful, but it's better to be nice. So I feel like that's kind of the piece of advice I'd want him to remember, because I think that we live in a society that's so success oriented, and where your accomplishments are counted, and you know your money is counted, and all of those things. But at the end of the day, all we have is what's in our heart, and that's something I try to reinforce to him as often as I can, because I think it's an important thing for children to remember, but an important thing for all of us to remember, that at the center of everything is just kindness and the way you greet the world and the way you treat the world.
Beautiful.
I have to echo that. That was exactly what I was going to say too.
I'm sorry.
No, but I think it's probably a universal, you know, for a parent to be kind, especially today with the pandemic, you know, being mindful of others and everything. It's, you know, when it's such an important lesson that the world doesn't revolve around you. It revolves, you know, it's what you can give to others. So I just echo what you say. That's what I've always told my kids, and not to lie. Never
That's true.
lie. It always catches up with you.
Well, wait a minute, but what do the five of us all do for a living? Don't we all lie for a living? Just kidding.
Oh, that's funny.
We make things up. There's a fine line.
Do as we say, not as we do, kids.
Mary Kay, what about you?
I would love for my kids and my grandkids to figure out how to be true to themselves. And not to follow the mob, not to follow what everybody else does, but to listen to their inner voices, which hopefully we have reinforced. And I guess I'm thinking about what my mother used to say, which was, you know, remember who raised you.
Yeah.
You know, they would, when we would mess up, there were 5 of us, you know, my mother or father would say, we didn't raise you like that. And so I guess I would just like smack him upside the head and say, remember who raised you.
That's awesome.
That's a good one. Patti?
Yeah, she stole mine, but that happens a lot. She gets in my computer and she looks at my notes. She's the funny one, and it's actually me. And she takes
a 0 right into your blog frame.
I would. If I had to besides call your mom, which is
Yeah.
advice I keep giving to them since they're grown and gone.
Yeah.
Come home for the holidays. Like that's it.
But don't bring your laundry.
Yeah, but don't bring your laundry. But they do. But
That's impossible.
bring it if you're going to come home. Just come home. Anyway, if there was only one, and I echo Kathy, I know it sounds trite, but I tell them all the time. I've written them all a letter when they graduated from high school and were heading to college. And if we pursue what others expect of us instead of what our individual souls call for, we won't give the world the gift that we are. Yeah. And we have to pack up. Even they have to pack up my expectations too, Dad's expectations, right? And my daughter lives in Hawaii and is on a different path than I ever was. But at the same time, that's what I told her, to follow what your soul calls for and not what other people expect of you. So we tell them that, and then it's hard to swallow. But
yeah, so I'm going to remember not to tell Will that. I'm going to be like, just do whatever your mom says. Do
Yeah,
not follow your heart. No, I'm just kidding.
Stay within 5 miles of home. Yeah.
Yeah. Those are all really amazing pieces of advice. Okay. And ladies, this is so terrible. We have so many more great things to talk about. But I feel like we need to skip ahead because we're running a little long tonight. So I think we're just going to have to skip straight to announcements, unfortunately, because I really wanted to hear all sorts of other things. But Patti, can you remind us about our new podcast and how people can listen?
Yes. So our podcast, we're really excited about this, and we have some exciting things coming up later, but you can listen to every episode on our podcast, and they're slowly filtering in, and you can listen to them on wherever you listen to podcasts, whether it's on your iPhone or even on the computer. And now Amazon has podcasts, and they're free, and you can listen to other episodes. I know sometimes y'all are looking on our page for old episodes and they're hard to find. And you can find them on the podcast and just listen to them in the car or while you're walking or wherever you are.
Awesome. Mary Kay, we have got some really exciting things coming up the next on Sunday and next week. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, Sunday we're going to have Viola Shipman, and I know you're seeing that picture of a guy, but in real life, Viola is the incredible Wade Rouse, and he'll be telling us about his latest book, The Heirloom Garden, and what's coming next for him. And as a special treat and a tribute to Wade, who has interviewed many a Real Housewife for People magazine, we're all going to debut our Real Housewife taglines.
And it's been a drama.
Yes. I thought this was going to be a fun, easy thing for 5 writers. It was not. It was a lot.
And then we've got a super exciting first time thing that we're doing, right? Sean, are you going to show us that graphic? Oh, there. Y'all, Sean is our Cabana boy. So
Sean rocks the world.
Sean is like the
we
savior.
love you, Sean.
Yeah, Sean's the savior of the universe tonight, as far as we're concerned.
Sean is over us tonight.
Sean's like out. Yeah.
We are so excited. The Friends in Fiction show is going on the virtual road. And our friends at Page and Palette in Fairhope, Alabama, are handing over the reins to us, allowing us to play hostesses at their virtual launch event for one of, I think, all of our idols. That's Fannie Flagg, celebrating her highly anticipated new novel, The Wonder Boy of Whistle Stop. So we really can't stress strong enough. We want you to join me, Mary Kay Andrews, Patti Callahan Henry, Mary Alice Monroe, Kristen Harmel, Christy Woodson Harvey, Thursday, November 12th, 6 p.m. Central Time, which is, what time is that?
Eastern?
7.
7, yeah. I don't do numbers. Don't ever let me do numbers. As we do a lively interview and discussion with the beloved actress, comedian, Academy Award nominee, and New York Times bestselling author of Fried Green Tomatoes at the Whistle Stop Cafe. And purchase of Fannie's new book from Page and Palette is required to attend. And I really want to stress this to you. The Zoom link will be emailed after you purchase your book at the store. So, and you'll get an autographed book. So you'll find the link on our website. Go to Page and Palette and reserve your space. Now, you do not want to miss Fannie Flagg. I've interviewed Fannie Flagg, and that is not an experience that you want to miss.
No, I'm super excited. I'm an Uber fan. So
yeah,
definitely.
Yeah. All right, now, Kristen, can you tell us about our amazing episode next week?
Yeah, gosh, I feel like we have so many exciting things going on.
I
so
know.
I know.
I know.
I'm kind of impressed. We sound pretty impressive now.
We're so cool.
I know, exactly. I'm finally hanging with the cool kids. So
Yeah.
we are excited to welcome Britt Bennett next week. She, of course, is the author of one of the most talked about books of the summer, the #1 New York Times bestseller, The Vanishing Half. So we also have a little surprise in store for you. So I will just say that next week's episode will be like no episode of Friends in Fiction you've seen so far. So mark your calendars now and be sure to join us next Wednesday, November 4th, right here at 7 p.m. Eastern.
I cannot wait. I loved that book so much. I
I mean,
cannot
oh my
wait to talk
gosh,
to her
I
about
can't
it.
wait to talk to her. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Powerful, very powerful.
Powerful, exactly. Mary Alice, speaking of, that was a good time to start. Can you please remind us one more time about our bookseller of the week?
Yes. Hold on, I've got to find it. Well, I know where it is, but it's been such a crazy night.
It has been a crazy night.
In Salisbury, North Carolina. And remember, everybody, it's offering 10% of all our books in person and online. And the link, don't forget, you'll find it. If you go to our Facebook page, the link will be in our group. And if you're lucky enough to stop by this charming store in person, just mention Friends in Fiction.
All right, ladies. Well, I think that was one of my favorite shows. That was so great.
amazing.
I'm kind of verklempt.
Yeah.
Hold on.
That was
So
amazing.
don't forget to tune in to our special bonus episode on Sunday at 5 p.m. on our Facebook page and register a page and palette for Fanny. And thank you to each one of you so much for tuning in each week. We're so grateful for your support of our books and us, just as people. And we hope that you feel how much we're supporting you and love you right back.
Special. I got
Oh!
it special.
Oh,
Happy Halloween.
cool.
Well, I thought if Karen's daughter could wear a hat, so could I.
Yes, happy Halloween, everybody.
Happy Halloween, everybody.
Yeah, we already
Good
have
night.
problems in our tech thing tonight.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, and you guys go vote, right?
Oh,
For our next episode,
Okay,
it's
no.
voting. I mean, I know you all know that, but it's important, so go vote.
If you forgot
That
somehow.
is very serious. Thank you
I've
so
already
much.
voted. Have y'all voted?
Yes, I have to by mail.
Yep.
Yeah, Tom and I voted absentee, and then he insisted that we put stamps on the absentee ballot before I dropped it in the county drop box,
Just
That's
Well,
funny.
Just in case.
just in case.
Okay. All right.
All
Bye,
right.
everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Good night.